Est. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Indigo Board of Directors meeting on Thursday, April 16th. Bob, would you please call roll?
Good afternoon, directors. Could you please indicate your attendance when I call your name? Director Slash? Director Fagan?
Present.
Director Wilson?
Present.
Present.
Okay, Mr. Chair, we have a quorum. I will note for the record that Director Fagan is participating virtually, so each vote the board takes will have to be by roll call today.
Thank you for that, Bob, and thank you, Mary Ann, for being online.
No problem.
Next is item 2, awards and commendations. President and CEO Jennifer Pierce will present any awards and commendations we have for March.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. This is Jennifer Pierce, President and CEO, and I've got a really short awards and accommodations. We'll keep things moving. attached or not attached on your screen is our list of March 2026 safe drivers. As always, these operators were recognized for their safe driving with receiving a National Safety Council patch, pin, and certificate. And I'll call attention to Mr. Anthony White. I'm sorry, Mr. Calvin Cargile. Sorry, I had written the wrong thing down. Mr. Calvin Cargile, who has had 21 years of safe driving and has been with us for 32 years. So congratulations. And then for our April Operations Employee of the Month, Nakia Ann King is a coach operator on our fixed route service. Nakia's nominator wrote to us, Nakia proudly earned her 6-year safe driving certificate last month, a remarkable milestone that reflects her steadfast commitment to safety and excellence. No matter what the challenge, she rises to the occasion with integrity, determination, and a can-do attitude. Nakia's dedication to safe driving and her passion for continuous service uplift the entire company, making the workplace stronger and better each day. So congratulations to Ms. King. And that is all I have. Back to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Moving on to item number 3, committee reports. Without objection, we will enter into the record the Service Committee report for its meeting on April 9th and the Governance and Audit Committee report for its meeting on April 9th. Next up is item number 4, the regular agenda. We will begin with item A1, consideration and approval of the board meeting minutes from March 19th. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
No.
Thank you. Hearing none. Can I get a motion for consideration and approval of the March 19th board meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I
Second.
get a second? Excellent. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yeah, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash,
Aye.
Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson, Director Gardner.
Aye. Thank you. Next up is action A2, consideration and approval of CMC contract for East Campus Garage, Senior Director of Capital Facilities Modernization and Asset Management. Andrea, your title is great. Andrea Herman.
You know, we do that to belong to the title, the less money we have to pay them.
True, so true. Just kidding. You ready for us?
Yes.
Ready for me? Good afternoon. Really excited today to bring this action item, which pertains to the award of our construction manager as constructor contract to Shield Sexton, pertaining to our East Campus operations and maintenance facilities project that we have been working on for a while. So I first, before I dive into the actual action item, wanted to introduce a couple of folks. First, we have Frank Duck, who is Executive Vice President with Shield Sexton. There he is. Give a big wave. We also have next to him, Chris Junkin, who will be the Senior Project Manager on this project. Yeah, so, and we just had our first meeting with them. JB worked really hard to get the contract so we could keep going on this, and we're very excited to have him on board, and it's just the perfect time to bring him on this project. So this action item is to be able to award a contract to them. We think we've mentioned before, previously back in like 2023, the board approved the use of this new project delivery method. People refer to it as, construction at risk. You'll hear us sometimes say CMC, construction manager as constructor. And what that generally means is, it's very, very helpful is that, in the pre-construction phases, we have the contractor essentially on board who's kind of, a construction advisor as well. We'll be able to come in and get us real pricing information, scheduling, and we'll be able to develop the project. So we are at 30% design and they're coming on board, and we look forward to working with them on that. So the way the CMC project delivery method works as well is that we are seeking approval today for the contract. And this is basically setting the amount for their pre-construction services. And that is in the amount of $98,490 or 400, I think it's 490. There's a typo on the, sorry. But it's basically a flat fee. We anticipate that based on the schedules we're looking at, this would be a year for us to finish pre-construction and get design completed. And then we can go into to the actual construction. As part of the pre-construction period, it's also very important that the CMC's work, Shield Sexton, will be proposing a guaranteed maximum price for the project. So two of the things that's nice about this delivery method is that we kind of get a guaranteed price and then a guaranteed schedule, right? And so those shifts those risks onto Shield Sexton. So at this time, the contract does contemplate construction, but, we won't have the construction pricing information, and that'll be delivered probably about a year from now. We hope to bring an amendment to this contract that will then put the pricing and schedule in for construction. So anyway, happy to answer any kind of questions on this. I also wanted to note, we do have DBE, because of the CMC, we continue to work under, Indigo standard XBE goals, but there's not a specific one set for this pre-construction period because with this delivery method, we're so early on, it's very, very hard to anticipate what's going to happen as part of construction. But again, when we come back with the amendment, we will be establishing, what the participation will be for DBE at that time. But I would also like to recognize that one of the things that we really liked about Shield Sexton is that they are partnering with Apogee Construction. So Apogee will actually be working in the pre-construction process with us as part of some of the project management. So we do feel like we have good participation, and we really think we'll be able to, really do some good work in that progress in that way. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation, Andrea. I will ask one question before I open up to my colleagues. When do you anticipate that we will get that amendment back before this body?
No, the amendment will come a year from now.
A year from now?
The schedule we just talked about would be bringing it in March or April of
Sure.
next year, and then starting construction right after. So,
Okay.
but yeah, we will be coming back with some more reports and as we're developing on that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
No.
No. Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So
Second.
moved.
Having a motion and a second. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yes, and before I do, Mr. Chair, I would like to clarify for the record, since Andrea mentioned there's a typographical error that involves money in the board memo, that the approval is for $98,490. With that, with the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash, Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is action item A3, consideration and approval of amendment to Indigo's BRT shelter cleaning and maintenance contract. Senior Director of Capital Facilities, Modernization and Asset Management, Andrea Hermer, will present.
Thank you. This is seeking approval of an amendment that we've been working with the facilities team pertaining to our red line stations. As some folks are probably familiar, we have these wood panels. They're part of the cladding system, and they are made of Ipe wood, if anybody's particularly interested, which is a hard wood, and it's, really, really a beautiful wood, and I think was part of the design intent. But as folks probably have noticed, since original construction, did maintain that natural reddish brown tones to the wood. They need to be treated. So this is we had a pilot project that we did about a year or so ago. And so this contract is to have the same vendor, Shuck Corporation, who does our repairs, maintenance, and cleaning out there, to come and apply on all 34 stations this year the oil treatment, the brightening, the cleaning and the brightening and the oil treatment to restore back to that more natural wood look as opposed to the grain that folks maybe have seen. And we're also, as part of this project, the plan is to do all 34 stations so we can create a baseline. And then going forward, we've asked Chuck to, as they're doing this work, put together a future maintenance plan so we don't have to keep doing them all at once, but come up with a program and prioritization to be able to maintain these going forward. But this project is just, this amount of, in the amount of 135,000 is just for bringing those 34 existing stations, restoring that wood with the staining process. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Andrea. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
Nope. Just one question. Just remind me for our blue line, what type, are we utilizing the same type or is it something different?
No, red line, the IP wood is special to red line, and both on the BRT, the blue line and the purple line, it's more of a synthetic plastic type material. So, the other thing I would say to folks is that, the Ipe wood, this is an aesthetic, but I think it's an important aesthetic part. But the wood itself it's hardwood, so it's going to last 75 years. So,
Yep.
And they're in good condition in that sense. But this is to bring them up to something, and then to try to build into the way we do business an ongoing maintenance that we'll have to keep going. Okay.
I ask you just, what would happen if we just let them weather and get the patina on them? Is there a logic? Is it just aesthetics that we want to keep them the reddish brown, or?
I won't say exclusively aesthetics. I mean, it's still wood, so I think without it, there's other treatments. So it's, there is the protection, a sealant, if you will, that goes on that can help make that last. But we could, and we've looked at this, right, different ways, that, the wood is in good shape, even though it's gray, and it will last a long time. It's very hard wood. But I would think if you didn't want to go through the staining process, there's still a sealant, a UV protection that's going to, make sure that 50-year, 75-year life cycle, we hit that. I would think if we didn't do it, you might be shaving some time off of that, but the wood itself is not in question, and the integrity of the wood is strong and can maintain.
Okay, no worries. I was just kind of thinking in the back of my mind, if we've got it, and I don't know what the interval is, if it's like every 5 years we've got to do this or whatever.
Right.
Over 75 years, that's a lot of 5-year, maintenance.
And it is, although, I think one of the things we're going to see is really what the pricing on this. One of the reasons why we wanted to do an amendment is that these folks are already touching our stations daily, right? So this was the best, I think, cost-effective vehicle for Chuck to be able to do this work. And one of the things that we're doing as part of this too is that as we're cleaning, this is an amount not to exceed, but we're hoping that we can really understand, there's going to be open book pricing, so we'll be able to see the real costs. That'll give it a much better platform. And I think in some ways it may be prioritization. We could have the Super Bowl coming in and everybody wants the Meridian Street stations looking, prime. I think internally it gives us more choices rather than just let them to go gray.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Great answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions regarding this?
No.
Thanks. Hearing none. Can I get a motion? A second?
Second.
Thanks. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yeah, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash, Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is action item A4, consideration and approval of utility reimbursement agreement for Washington Street BRT station. Capital Projects Manager Christian Cambron will present. A little soft.
It's on red. There we go.
There
Thank
you go.
Ryan. Project Manager Christian Cameron here, Capital Projects Department. So I'm going to read this straight off here. It's recommended that the board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to execute a reimbursement agreement with Citizens Energy Group for an amount not to exceed $95,600 to relocate Citizens facilities that conflict with the proposed Washington Street BRT station project. So this is the project that has come in front of the board a couple times before for design services. Hopefully soon I'll be back here for a construction contract award. This is simply a utility reimbursement agreement to reimburse Citizens for relocation that needs to take place before the real construction can start on the project. So City Code states that since this is not a DPW funded project, that the agency needs to reimburse Citizens for this work. And I will just mention this agreement lays out terms for Citizens to meet specific time and dollar standards that we would hold them to. And there's no DBE, XBE declaration for this project because it is a reimbursement agreement between Indigo and a utility. And this has been budgeted for as part of the locally funded capital budget for the project. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Christian. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
No.
Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Having a motion and a second, Bob, would you please call roll?
Yeah, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash?
Aye.
Director Fagan?
Aye.
Director Wilson? Aye. Director Gardner?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Christian. Next up is action item A5, consideration and approval of new Indigo Foundation board member. Foundation Executive Director Emily Moe will present.
Good afternoon, directors. Again, the recommendation is that you all approve the appointment of Daryl Lockett to the Indigo Foundation Board. You may know Gene Castor on our board. It works at Anthem/Elevance. I'm putting them both together. And Gene has asked to step down from the board, just not having enough time available. Happily, at the same time, Daryl Lockett was invited to attend Transit Equity Day in February, and when I was meeting with him, we realized he would be a great replacement. He also is with Anthem, and so Gene and Daryl are happy to make that exchange. I think you can see from his bio that Daryl's a really great fit for this, and we're excited to have him. The Indigo Foundation Board approved or recommended him at our March meeting, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Emily. I know Daryl well, and he will be an excellent addition if approved tonight. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
No.
My only comment is what a great good exchange.
Very excited.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for consideration and approval
So
of?
moved.
Second.
Excellent. Having a motion and a second. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yeah, directors, please indicate your vote on the present motion when I call your name. Director Slash? Director Fagan?
Aye.
Director Wilson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Emily. Next up is action item A6, consideration and approval of amendment to Indigo 2018 service standards. Manager of Special Projects and Regional Mobility Integration, Mr. Will Height, will present.
Thank you. Thank you, Board of Directors. Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Wilhite. I'm the Manager of Special Projects and Regional Mobility Integration here at Indigo. Tonight, I'm going to recommend, or this afternoon, I'm going to recommend the Board of Director amends the Indigo service standards. I worked really hard this presentation not to have a PowerPoint. That was not in the cards. So unfortunately, or fortunately, as you'll see, there is a PowerPoint. So we'll walk through that. I'm gonna show you a little bit why I thought for this service standards, or for this presentation, we'd have one. So service standards are the goals that transit agencies set for transit services provided. They really try to express not only to internal staff, but to stakeholders, kind of what our service is all about, what we set for our standard for a lot of different really important metrics, including on-time performance, bus stop spacing, and other key metrics. Indigo uses its service standards, this federally required document, to monitor how well the agency is performing in its delivery of service. Go ahead and advance that. Our service standards were updated in 2018. At that time, we had some service standards that reflected planning exercises that were a bit older, and we wanted to update the service standards to fit the Marion County transit plans, coloring of the routes and the on-time performance and things of that nature. So that was the first time that we came before you in 2018. We amended it with some really minor changes in 2019, and then we decided that we would try to update these standards every time we did a COA. The standards have, we attempt to take this document that's got it can be really text heavy like anything else. So we attempt for the public and for other stakeholders to make it somewhat approachable. So here's an example here in which we show defining features for the different, these are like the categories that we would have within the different the route structures like frequent, basic, et cetera. So there's a defining feature. We show the frequency, the span, the stop spacing of that, the targets for that particular type of route, and then the outputs that we would expect to see based upon what Indigo is investing into that particular type of route. So as you can imagine, this is a document that kind of has tentacles throughout the agency, even if you don't know it. And that is why I put this PowerPoint together. So let's go ahead and continue. So in this case, we have the example for rapid service. You'll see that we expect it to have 15-minute or better frequency. That's how we plan it. We have 20-hour daily span. We target 19 to 22 miles an hour for bus speed. We try to load up the stop amenities, right, with the best amenities that we can offer. And then the last thing I'll point out is that for the most part, we're looking for really high productivity out of this route because we're investing so much into it. Next slide. A little bit of background, some additional one. I won't read everything on here. These are this is a federally required document. The way that we present it isn't necessarily federally required, but I've always viewed federal requirements as our floor, and then we try to be better because we have this document to adhere to anyway. I've already mentioned reviewing and updating, so we won't dive into that. So let's go into the next part because some of these other bullet points are actually addressed in some of the next slides. Service standards are reviewed after every major planning effort. So here's the 2027 transit network that you all took a look at a few years back. And so once that was approved, we started looking and saying what needed to be updated in our service standards. We actually engaged with a consultant to talk through what needs to be updated here. Are there processes? Are there metrics that we need to update? And so we knew that was coming down the pike. Go to the next slide. The TOPR, which is presented to the board, is also informed by the service standards. So the Transit Operations Performance Report, some of the different coloring here is informed by what the service standard lays out, and then you can, there's some other parts of this like productivity that appears at times in the TOPR as well for goals and other things. Let's go ahead, next slide. The Title VI program update and the service monitoring report also refer to the service standards, using the standards to actually analyze the service. This relationship here is actually why the FTA requires this, to ensure that we're not unintentionally or intentionally having any kind of an impact. So we're required to set these standards and then analyze our service based upon these metrics. So for reference here, you can see one of the metrics that I've pulled out from our program update, which includes a service monitoring report, is rapid and frequent basic coverage categories, and the load that we say is the maximum that we would have for that particular different route. And so if we have in the service monitoring report, we find that we've got loads that are higher maybe on a minority route versus a non-minority route, our team knows that and we can start thinking through ways in which we can address that issue. Go ahead. Service standards also provide information on how we determine investments in bus stop amenities and bus stop placement. So here's a table which is a little difficult to read, admittedly, but shows you this is straight from the service standards. So we'll just say bus stop with bench. we're looking at just a range, 10 to 20 boardings per day. So this gives us an idea and gives service planning an idea about what we're looking at when it comes to investing into these bus stops. Go ahead. Service standards provide staff and the board with a framework for evaluating service requests. So there's some appendices to the service standard that outline different processes, how the service standards will be utilized, and that is both to help Indigo staff and to help our stakeholders understand how we may evaluate any service requests that they may have. We can go forward again. So what did we change? We made some minor modifications throughout the document just to improve some of the verbiage that was in there. We did revise our on-time performance standards. They were kind of high with the Marion County Transit Plan. Now that we've been running it for a little bit longer, we tweaked those a little bit just to be reflective of what the service looks like on the street. We included off-peak standards for certain metrics where that wasn't the case before. We reviewed and revised our productivity standard. This is the one that we felt for a little while, if you've been paying attention to our TOPR, with the COVID effect on ridership, we felt like it was a good time to take a look at what our baseline had been and what we hope it to be with investment. And so say, this is the productivity standard we should expect for these different investments. So we did adjust those to be more realistic to what we're seeing with COVID. The previous productivity standards were done years ago with the help of Jared Walker and Associates, and it reflected a pre-COVID reality, and it reflected a reality of frequent investment that we haven't been able to achieve quite yet. But our productivity standards that we're putting into the service standards do assume that that will get there, the full build out, but do adjust that to be reflective of what we're seeing on the ground. We included reference to the TOPR in the service standards. The TOPR hadn't been a process that we'd really established, and so we referred to that in here. And then through the help of our consultant, we added a community route definition. So in the event that, let's say that one of our coverage routes doesn't meet a productivity standard, we might have some, the community route will help us understand, well, is this route serving maybe zero-car households more than others? Maybe we hold off on removing that route, or maybe we hold off on downgrading that route because of what it means to that particular community. So that's something else that it doesn't necessarily say we have to do that as Indigo. It says, here's some guidance when you guys are considering making some of these decisions. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Any questions?
Hey, thank you, Ryan, for a detailed presentation. That was really helpful. I guess one question I have is just how do these standards also, maybe this is just a silly question, but how does it tie to kind of what we plan to do in terms of the growth of our fleet? I assume that that a lot of this is kind of based on kind of our current fleet and what it looks like today.
Yeah. So yeah, how does the service standards relate to the fleet that we have? This is the service standards really reflect the service plan that we've put out there. There is a relationship, but it's not something. Let me push pause to say there are metrics in here about how we the age and condition of vehicles that we put out on the street. I think that's separate from what you're asking. Yeah, I think this document is a little bit more silent on those fleet requirements per se, but is more instructing us that we cannot assign new routes to certain areas, new buses to certain areas. We want to put our buses applied, randomly or throughout. Yeah, distributed throughout. But no, for the most part, the fleet question is more based on the service plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions or comments for Ryan?
No, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Hearing no other questions or comments, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Having a motion and a second.
Yeah, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash, Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ryan. Next is action item A7, consideration and approval of amendment number 2 to the legal services contract with Hoover Hull Turner LLP. Bob Fry, Chief Legal Officer, will present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is recommended of the board that the board authorize the president and CEO to execute amendment number 2 to the contract for legal services with law firm Hoover Hull Turner LLP to extend the term for 1 year through May 1st, 2027. So by way of some background, in 2024, kind of working in conjunction with me, the board determined that it would be advisable to have a legal contract just for the board so that the board could seek legal services in the event either our in-house attorneys had conflicts of interest, or it was something that was just beyond our capacity or expertise to handle. Accordingly, the board elected to engage the services of Hoover Hull Turner to provide these outside legal services as needed based on prior experience with the firm. At its meeting in May of 2024, the board approved the contract. And then in April of 2025, the board approved amendment number 1 to extend it for a year. So as it stands now, the contract will expire May 1st, 2026. And this proposed amendment, again, would extend it for 1 year on the same terms and conditions, meaning that the law firm has agreed to hold their rates. So we'll be paying the same hourly rates as we have since 2024. The annual fiscal impact on this will all depend on whether the board uses the firm or not. And just so you all have some context, I put in the memo, since the inception of this contract, there's been a total spend of just over $19,000 over 2 years. So not a heavily used contract. Any cost incurred through this extended contract term will be covered by the board's operating budget. So with that, I can try to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Bob. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
No, just that I feel that they've done a very good and complete job for us. I've been very happy with them.
Thank you for that, Mary Ann. Can I get a motion for consideration and approval of amendment number 2 to the legal services
So
contract?
moved.
Having a motion and a second, Bob, would you please call roll?
Yes, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash, Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson, Director Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Bob. Next up is action item A8, consideration and approval of bus camera equipment contract. Chief Information Officer Marcus Burnside will present.
Yes, good afternoon, Board of Directors. Thank you. My name is Marcus Burnside, Chief Information Officer for Indigo, and I'm here to present to you action item A8, consideration and approval of contract with IDIS Americas. It is recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to enter into a 3-year contract with IDIS Americas to purchase bus camera equipment and accessories in an amount not to exceed $124,385. IPTC has used bus camera system technology since 2010 as a motor security, AKA bus camera system. In December 2020, we awarded Illuminator Technology Group as our bus camera vendor. Illuminator licensed the IDIS America's bus camera equipment as a reseller and rebranded the equipment under the Illuminator name. And the contract with Illuminator expired in December 10th of 2025, and all equipment purchased from Illuminator is out of warranty. Since the contract expiration, though, however, IPTC was able to purchase software licenses with IDIS Americas to cover our cameras. However, we currently do not have a contract to purchase bus camera equipment and or accessories to support the entire fleet. So we're proposing to enter into a contract with IDIS Americas as a special procurement for compatibility reasons, under which we will have pricing and additional cameras and accessories locked in for 3 years. And also we'll continue to receive support for the existing cameras in our fleet. This is a fiscally responsible decision because replacing The entire system would cost millions of dollars in a global market is it currently experiencing rising computing costs for hard drive, CPU, and memory. For the fiscal impact, this project will be funded by the information technology operating budget. Bus camera equipment accessories will cost $245 this year, $23,340 next year, and $56,800 in 2028. For XBE declaration, there are no XBE goals for this procurement because there are no certified firms or contracting opportunities. I do want to note, though, that this is just for an operating contract. Any purchases for any camera systems for a fixed route or BRT fleet new will be handled separately and to be amended to this contract. Just want to note that because I know that's maybe one of the
Thank you
questions.
for that
may come up. Yeah.
clarification, Marcus.
Yes, so with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I want to just clarify two quick things here. I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure I'm right. So this 124,000 is separate from the 330 software licenses that you've already purchased. So this will just be for pieces and parts,
Yes.
and it won't include anything for the blue line
No, we're not. That will be handled separately.
separately. Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought I heard you say. Just want to make sure I was clear. Thank
Yep.
you.
Are there any other questions or comments for Marcus?
No, thank you.
We appreciate you being fiscally responsible, Marcus.
Thank you.
And hearing no other comments, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Having a motion and a second. Bob, would you please call roll?
Yeah, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash,
Aye.
Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson, Director Gardner.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus. Next up is action item A9, consideration and approval of contractor for 1501 Women's Locker Room renovation. Senior Project Manager of Capital Facilities Projects, Sarah Stentz, will present. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thank you. Sarah Stentz, Senior Project Manager. This is an action item to recommend that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to enter into a contract with the Shuck Corporation for a price not to exceed $216,390 for the complete scope of renovations in the women's locker room located at our property at 1501 West Washington Street. So the women's locker room serves the female mechanics and our fleet team in addition to other Indigo staff. And over the years, as the facility was built in 1984, it has aged and it has not been updated much. Because of this, it's seen excessive signs of wear and tear, and also the layout of the space no longer serves the staff or provides adequate ADA access. Renovations will address these issues, updating the space while also removing a couple of walls that make it not accessible. So it will be a fully accessible locker room with these renovations, as well as just looking a little bit nicer and cleaner for our female mechanics and our fleet staff there at 1501. This project, due to the pause on the DBE program, doesn't have any goals assigned to it, but I'm happy to answer any questions relevant to the scope of work or anything else related to the project.
Thank you, Sarah. Really excited about this project.
Yes.
Given I remember when we renovated the men's locker room and what kind of shape that was in. Just remind me, how many female mechanics do we have currently?
I believe we have 2. We have 4. I am wrong in the right direction.
That's awesome. That's a good direction to be wrong.
Yeah, we
in.
want to keep bringing more female mechanics along, and upgrading the locker room will definitely help to show that we really appreciate the hard work that they put in.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments for Sarah regarding this presentation? Hearing none, can I get a motion for consideration and approval of contractor for 1501 Women's Locker Room renovation?
Second.
Bob, having a motion and a second, can you please call roll?
Directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Slash, Director Fagan,
Aye.
Director Wilson, Director Gardner.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to agenda item number 5, information items. First up is I-1, the finance report presented by Interim Chief Financial Officer, Justin Burko.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening. Board of Directors, my name is Justin Burkope. I'm the Interim Chief Financial Officer for Indigo, here to share some highlights on our March financial summary. On the revenue side, fair revenue continues to perform well for the year. We were 7.77% over budget for the month, 1.9% over budget for the year, and impressively, we were over budget. We were $268,000 over our collections during the same time last year. All our tax collections have come in for the year as expected. We did get some good news from the Controller's Office last week as well, that we'll be getting a supplemental income tax distribution of around $9 million. We should receive that sometime after June, and so I'll be sure to update the board once that comes through. On the expense side, total personal services came in under budget by 1% for the month and 15.5% under budget for the year. Our other services and charges were over budget by 9.3% for the month, and that was primarily driven by some one-time annual software renewals, 3 of which the board approved earlier on in the year for Avail, Microsoft D365, which is our finance ERP system, and then eBuilder, our capital project management system. Utilities expenses normalized for the month. We came in under budget by 0.7%, and overall other services and charges are under budget for the year by 18%. Materials and supplies were under budget by 19% for the month, and that's primarily due to that favorable fuel pricing that we were able to lock in for the year. And overall expenses were 0.88% under budget for the month and 17.59% under budget for the year. That concludes my information report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Justin. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
No.
Hearing none, your report's accepted. Next up is information item I-2 is the Floberg extension presented by Interim Chief Financial Officer Justin Burko.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon again, Board of Directors. My name is Justin Burkope, Interim CFO for Indigo, here to present an information item on a contract extension for Floberg. As you're all aware, Indigo is currently transitioning to a new fare collection system product, the vendor being Masabi. This is a system that's scheduled to go live July 1st, 2026. And this is a platform that's going to modernize our fare payments. It's going to improve our customer experience and then also provide staff greater operational flexibility. We're currently under contract with Floberg for our current fare collection system. And this contract was originally to last through June 30th, 2026. In March, the staff executed change order 16 to extend that agreement through December 31st of 2026. And we did this for a couple of reasons. We believe it supports a deliberate, low-risk transition strategy. So for a period of time, we'll be operating the existing Floberg system in parallel with the new Masabi platform as that rolls out to the public. We believe that this is an approach that supports our riders. So for a defined time period yet to be determined, we're going to allow our customers who have Floberg balance to spend that down using the Floberg system that we currently have throughout our network, while also operating the Masabi system beginning July 1st. This approach also provides some key safeguards. It ensures continuity of the fare collection system, provides backup capabilities, and gives us some contingency options if any issues arise with the new system. And finally, this contract extension includes a termination for convenience clause, and so that gives us the flexibility to exit the Floberg agreement should the Masabi transition proceed smoothly as we expect. And that concludes my information item.
Thank you, Justin. Are there any questions or comments? Yep.
I have, not so much a question, but something I'm going to direct to you, Mr. Chairman, as Chairman of the Service Committee. The strategy, I guess, behind this transition and leaving the MyKey in place, the funds from anybody who has funds on their MyKey, they're not transferable to the Wasabi system. So I think we want to think carefully about what's that length of time that we need to allow people to spend down their Flowbird balance. I don't know, we have, Justin, we have data on what that spend looks like, right?
We do. We have information on what the average balance is. Going to support the decision for how long we decide to keep the Flowbird system running.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Thanks.
Getting in on that. Yes.
Communicating with people that still have balances and what that looks like. Is that a plan, like there's a plan for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there certainly is. More information to come from staff, especially Carrie and our public affairs team on that.
Thank you for the update, Justin. And having no other questions or comments, just want to thank everyone for attending this month's service committee. I'm so used to being the service committee chair when I have to chair the full board. But thank everyone for attending this month's full board meeting. It's obvious we need to adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.